right, this item will now be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for final action on November 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. unless otherwise denounced. We will now move on to item 23. Item 23 it will be heard together with 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Item number 23 is PA 25-70036, holdover plan amendment to redesignate the existing land use category from mid-intensity suburban neighborhood to compact neighborhood on 20.1 acres, generally located north of Cactus Avenue and east of Buffalo Drive within Enterprise. Item number 26 is, 24 is ZC 25-0571, holdover zone change to reclassify 20.1 acres from an RS20 residential single-family 20 zone to an RS2 residential single-family 2 zone, generally located north of Cactus Avenue and east of Buffalo Drive within Enterprise. Item number 25 is WS 25-0573, holdover waiver development standards for reduced driveway separation in conjunction with a proposed single-family residential subdivision on 20.1 acres in an RS2 residential single-family 2 zone, generally located north of Cactus Avenue and east of Buffalo Drive within Enterprise. Item number 26 is PUD 25-0572, holdover plan unit development for a 210-lot single-family residential residential development with modified development standards on 20.1 acres in an RS2 residential single-family 2 zone, generally located north of Cactus Avenue and east of Buffalo Drive within Enterprise. And item number 27 is TM 25-500142, holdover tentative map consisting of 210 single-family residential lots and common lots on 20.1 acres in an RS2 residential single-family 2 zone, generally located north of Cactus Avenue and east of Buffalo Drive within Enterprise.
Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Bob Gronauer, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive. On these next several items, I'm here representing Cavison Homes. This is an exciting project that I'm going to be presenting, but before I get into that is what's exciting about this project is this is a project that came from the county commissioners. It was their forethought here of trying to address housing here in Southern Nevada. As you know, what you hear on a weekly basis is we have a housing crisis. And as you may also know, the average median house to purchase is about $485,000. When you take that in consideration, knowing that there's a shortfall for housing, you need leadership to look at ways to get people into housing. And over the last several years, the county commissioners put some plans and some action items together. And part of that action item from a few years ago from the vote and the vision was to create this community land trust that would provide first-time home buyers ownership into this community. So what I'd like to do, I do have Margot Tello and Dagny Stapleton that are here from the Clark County to answer any questions that you may have on the community land trust. But what I'd like to do before I get into my presentation is show you, it's a few-minute video about the Community Land Trust. I'm doing it for two reasons. One is we did this at the Enterprise Town Board meeting, and when we were there were some technical difficulties. So some of the video was on, some of the voice was on, and it didn't give the message that we wanted to get to. And so I believe by letting you see this today, this will give you an idea of what that community land trust is, because there is opposition here. And in this video, you'll see some things that will actually address some of the things that may come up in this presentation with respect to the community land trust. So after that, I'll go into my presentation, and if you have any questions on the community land trust, both Margot and Dagny are here to answer if I'm unable to answer those questions. So I'd like to turn it over at least to the video, and then I'll get into my presentation.
Thank you.
Clark County and Cavison Homes are working together to make the age-old American dream of home ownership possible. The Welcome Home Community Land Trust uses a modern model where working families can buy a home at a price they can afford, not just today, but for generations to come.
I mean, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. And the counties chose to be part of the solution.
In a community land trust, the homeowner owns the home, while the land is owned by the county. This helps set an attainable price, builds equity for families, and ensures that future buyers will also have a chance to purchase an attainable home. It's a model to support families and strengthen communities. One of the 2 projects to be completed first under this program is Cactus Trails, a vibrant 20-acre neighborhood that will open the door for 210 families to own beautiful single-family homes and put down roots for their future.
To me, it's a legacy project. And I grew up here, I raised my kids here, I went to school here, and it's a way for us to give back to the community that's really, really desperately needed. 210 homes total. Square footage is 12 to about 1,680 square feet. And they're beautiful homes. They're going to look just like you would see all around you. They're the same type of home, same architectural standards, same colors, same color palette, same everything. It's just a little bit, a little bit smaller.
Using the Community Land Trust Plan, Cactus Trails will open the door to home ownership to people such as teachers, truck drivers, and other working families who might not qualify for a mortgage in a conventional neighborhood. Every Community Land Trust homeowner will have to meet various eligibility requirements, such as participating in homebuyer education. These HUD-certified classes will help prepare families for the responsibilities of owning a home and ensure this program is the right match for them, setting them up for long-term success.
For Cactus Trails, there is going to be requirements for homebuyer education. This is going to be HUD certified classes that these potential homebuyers are going to have to go through to make sure this program is going to fit them. So they're going to be in this property for the long term. Not only that, but when they're going to qualify, these are not buyers that don't have their own funds, right? They're going to have at least 3% of their own funds down. The credit score is going to need to be higher than your traditional credit score for just qualifying for a loan itself. So we're talking about home buyers that are going to have their own money and need higher credit scores.
Many people wonder whether homes at Cactus Trails might become rentals or sold to investors. It's important to know these homes are owner-occupied, not rentals, meaning the people who live there own their homes and are committed to the community.
The people that are going to be living here have to go through probably a little bit more stringent process to get the mortgage than what the people that are living here now. It's not low income, it's not Section 8, and that's middle. That's what we call, I've heard it called workforce housing, the missing middle, but there's a big hole in Las Vegas and nationwide in this price point, and that's what we're trying to do, is trying to fill a need.
Cactus Trails will offer top-tier homes designed with quality and care. When people own their homes, it creates a real sense of pride and belonging. These homes aren't just a place to live, they're long-term investments that help build lasting value in the area. It's about creating a neighborhood where families can grow, thrive, and feel truly connected to their community.
This is a path to be, or a time to be smart about how you invest in real estate, and CLT communities really give you that opportunity if you qualify to leverage a unique position where you're not necessarily paying full price for the same type of assets and community amenities that you would get right down the street. I certainly think it's an exciting project because it's so new and being rolled out in so few communities around the country. I do see the advantage for our valley as a high growth community to bring in affordable housing options for that workforce community.
Some neighbors might worry that affordability comes with a cost, like declining property values. This is a misconception that real estate experts also agree on.
I believe Cactus Trails will not affect the values of the surrounding neighborhood.
County leaders and real estate appraisers want neighbors to know that CLT homes are appraised differently and will not impact or be directly compared to the value of houses in nearby communities.
Well, from an appraisal standpoint, wouldn't be used in appraisals for houses outside of the project.
In addition to generating home ownership opportunity through the Community Land Trust, Clark County's historic Welcome Home Program and Community Housing Fund are changing lives, helping low-income families, seniors, and working parents secure affordable rental housing. Since 2022, the Board of County Commissioners has allocated nearly $250 million to tackle this critical need. Partnering with builders, lenders, and community groups, Clark County is creating safe, affordable neighborhoods people are proud to call home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. And now what I'd like to do is get into the presentation. So following the Community Land Trust video, the presentation that you just saw, just highlighting a few things. And once again, this is a great program. This is thinking outside the box. This is the first in the state of Nevada that you're looking at. This Community Land Trust has been used throughout the country. And so as I mentioned earlier, you know, thank the commissioners for thinking outside the box to come up with a program here to provide home ownership to first-time home buyers. Because I think, as you know we have family, we have kids, we have grandkids, we have family, we have friends, that it's hard for them to purchase a home. This gives them that opportunity. And this is workforce housing. As a matter of fact, the funny thing is, or interesting, I'll say, is that what you see in this area here, there are a lot of rental homes in Mountain's Edge. As a matter of fact, there are hundreds when you take a look at the entire master plan community. There's nothing wrong with rental homes. That's for various reasons people rent. But the irony of this presentation tonight, and what is really good here that's before you, is the people that are living in this community today that are renting those homes are more than likely going to be the new homeowner on this property in this area. So you're going to hear later on about those people living in this community. Those people already exist. They are already here playing with the existing Mountain's Edge residents, their families. They play on the same sports teams. They go to the same schools. They sleep over each other's house. They do things together. This community is going to still stay the same with this type of development. Because what you're going to be dealing with is there's teachers in this neighborhood. There's teachers that will be qualifying for this workforce housing. There are the service industry, there are construction jobs, you have you have government employees in Clark County, City of Las Vegas, that will be qualifying for this type of use. So to me, I think it's very important, it's exciting as we go through. But through a land use side, I got to go through a few things. So the first thing I'd like to do is give you the location of this property. This property is smack dab surrounded by Mountain's Edge. You have Buffalo, which is over in this area here, which runs north and south. We have Rainbow over here to the east, which goes north and south. We have Cactus, and you have Mountain's Edge Parkway. So it gives you an idea of generally where we're located. This is a BLM parcel. It's approximately 20 acres that we're asking for 210 single-family homes. It comes out to a density about just over 10 units to the acre. With this application, we are required to come in with a master plan amendment, or a plan amendment and a zone change, and there's other applications that I'll go through. But the first thing that I'd like to do is discuss the application for the plan amendment, okay? Currently, it's planned for mid-intensity neighborhood. We're asking for a compact neighborhood. And the reason is because we're going over 8 dwelling units an acre. The zone change is going to be for RS2. Now, the one thing I want to show you, the reason why we believe that, and your staff's recommending approval from a compatibility standpoint, is when you take a look at the current zoning map in this area, as I'm showing you here, this is highlighted in green, which is our property. The different colors that you see here is the RS2 or RM18 densities in this area that surround and are adjacent to the orange areas of the RS 3.3 development. So we feel that the zone change and the plan, our master plan change in this area, will not have a detrimental impact in the area. As a matter of fact, the type of densities that we are proposing are no different than similar densities than what exist in this area. There's also, as I go through, there are goals and policies, as you know, that's in the land plan. I'm just going to hit a few of the goals and policies that we actually address and that we hit here with this type of development. The first one is goal 1.1, where it talks about opportunities for diverse housing. We believe that this type of project with the compact lots that we're proposing adds that diversity of housing for all ages and income levels that we are proposing here. You get into policy 1.1.1. It talks about diverse housing for a variety of densities. where you allow for townhomes, you allow for duplexes, and in this case, compact lots. That's what we're proposing here is a compact lots. When you look at policy 1.1.4, it encourages infill development. As you take a look at this here, there's no other vacant land outside of this 20 acres that you see. This is infill development. When you take a look at policy 1.3.5, you look at neighborhood livability. What we are proposing here, and I'm going to show you, and I'll get into the site plan here, you can see a lot of the green on this plan here. We have over 3 times the amount of open space within our planned community than what is required by code. As a matter of fact, what's unique about this subdivision that we're proposing, when you look at other subdivisions around in this area, you will not see a similar amount of open space that's being provided within those communities that are located there. And then finally, on policy 6.1.4, it talks about having compact lots and efficient development within the disposal boundary. As you know, part of our issues here for development is we have that ring around the valley that only allows you to build within a certain area. This is that area that we're hitting, and as I mentioned, that's the infill development. Your staff has looked at this, and I think by the goals and the policies that I just pointed out to you, I could go on and on with more of them, but I think that hits the record right there why the master plan should be changed from mid-intensity to the compact neighborhood and from the map that I showed you with the zoning for RS2. Now I want to get into the site plan. As the other applications that are before you, there's a plan unit development, there's a tentative map, and there's some waiver development standards. This application here, as you can see, it's an inverted T. We have our main access is going to be coming off of Cactus. Access, we have 2 access points centrally located to the site, as I'm showing you here, coming off of Cactus. And then over on the southeast portion of our property in this area, we have access coming in here. When you look at other projects along Cactus, I'm going to show you here fairly quickly, you either have 1 ingress egress or you have 2 ingress egresses in here in this area here off of Cactus. So the proposal of what we're showing you is we have exactly the same amount, if not more, ingress egress accesses to our property than the existing properties that exist in that area. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we have a drainage channel that bisects our property in this area. So essentially the properties to the south of here, I want to show that you actually have some ingress and egress access that's appropriate in this area. The next thing that I want to go through is the open space. I mentioned that just earlier when I said how this plan is planned out. This open space that we're proposing is about 150,000 square feet of open space, where approximately 46,000 square feet is required. In this open space, in this area here, you're going to have a fitness center, we're going to have a splash pad, you're going to have 2 different dog parks, you're going to have covered seating, and sports courts. And you'll have some other amenities throughout as you go throughout the area. All the green areas here is for connectivity to the north to the south, as far as being able to walk safely on sidewalks or trails within the community itself. The other design here that's very important to note, we do not have any homes that are being proposed backing up to existing homes in adjacent to our property. As a matter of fact, we have a trail to the east here, which will have 0 impact on anybody to the east of us. In this area here, just on the east, we have about a 51-foot separation between our property line and the first house, which is the same thing over here and on all the rest of the development itself. So what's important here in working with your staff, we wanted to design a product that would not have an impact adjacent to the neighbors, where you would have rear yard with rear yard. The other thing that we're doing here on the exterior, as you can see the green on the perimeters here, we have anywhere from 5 feet to 14 feet of landscaping that's going to be adjacent to the existing property line. So before you get to our house, you're going to have an existing home that's there. You're going to have, within that 51 feet, you're going to have 5 feet to 12 feet, 14 feet of space of landscaping in that area to add as an additional buffer. Homes, they're going to be anywhere from 1,200 to 1,600 square feet. No different than home sizes that already exist in Mountain's Edge. So these home sizes are similar, okay? The price points of what you're going to be looking at is they're going to be anywhere from about $249,000 to $290,000, which hits that workforce number where we are trying to target and hit. As a matter of fact, the homes, these are no different than the homes I represent with other builders, okay? You still have the pop-outs, you still have the requirements that you typically have. One of the things I do want to point out is our goal, as you heard on the presentation, is to make sure that we are going to be in compliance to the Mountain's Edge standards and guidelines with respect to the architectural features, the landscape palettes, the block wall, the colors, everything that this piece of property, although it's not going to be a part of Mountain's Edge, it is going to look and act and feel just like Mountain's Edge. That is very important to make sure we hit that note as we go through the presentation. Next is parking. We exceed the parking requirements. Staff asked us to add additional parking, as you can see, at the end of the units of streets in this area. So we made sure we came in to make sure we meet or exceed, as I said, exceed the parking. This is going to be built out in 3 phases in this plan unit development. It's going to start on the east side, southeast here, in this half development. The other half here will be in phase 2. Phase 3 is going to be the northern half. So that's the layout of the property, of the proposal that's before you. We did have 2 neighborhood meetings. One was a voluntary neighborhood meeting, and the other one was a mandatory neighborhood meeting by Clark County. We did have a town board meeting also. There are a few things that you're going to hear from the neighbors that are here in opposition, and I'd like to at least address a few of them before I sit down and we listen to the opposition. One of the issues was a concern about schools. Very good issue to discuss. It's a very important concern to make sure that the schools are not overcrowded and you're bringing in more density. So one of the things that we did is, and I mentioned at the town board meeting, is we have an elementary school and we have a middle school, which is located here. This is the location of our property, where both of these, the elementary and middle school in this area, are under capacity. Okay, so you do have capacity. We checked with the school district. We have more than enough capacity in that area. Although you have Desert Oasis High School, which is located over in this area as I'm pointing to you, that is over capacity. However, it was just mentioned, I think, out there from the Clark County that this area here is going to be a future high school, which is going to open in 28 or 29. So that will help relieve some of the congestion in this area for high schools. So from a school standpoint, I think we check that box, is we're not going to have a negative impact in this area where you have already 2 schools under capacity. You also have a charter school out here. I think it's Durrell Academy, if I'm not mistaken, which is not on the map here. But you have schools. I believe we address those issues with the school. Property values. You're going to hear arguments about property values, as you heard on the presentation. Property values will not be impacted in the area with the existing homes because the appraisals and the comps are going to be taken within the community here because they have specific restrictions on the property that the other properties don't have. As a matter of fact, we were in our first neighborhood meeting that was voluntary. One of the opposition neighbors was a real estate agent, and I appreciate her standing up and mentioning the same thing that I'm mentioning, is the property values will not be impacted from an appraisal standpoint because those comps are taken differently. The next issue is density. There are some issues you're going to hear about density. As I mentioned, there's other projects in the area that are over 8 units an acre. And the interesting thing is with today's land use plan, they would all be in the compact neighborhood category because anything over 8 units an acre requires a land plan to be a compact neighborhood. You're going to hear about HOA concerns. I know Clark County, both Margot and Dagny, has been working closely with the Mountain's Edge Master Association. Currently, we are trying to work with them to work together to make sure this development that we have is complementary to Mountain's Edge. I know there's been discussions, and we are open to work with the Mountain's Edge Master Plan Association with respect to this development. You're going to hear some other conspiracy theories I don't want to get into. You'll hear some stuff that the government has done certain things to put this type of housing or proposal here. The fact of the matter is this has been in process for about 6 years through 2 or 3 different administrations, 3 different administrations that you're dealing with here with respect to what we're asking for. And then one of the next to the last points that I want to make is this is not a rental community. These are going to be homeowners. They're not going to be allowed to rent these out. So this is going to be family owned, and it's important because as I said on the presentation, these are people that are going to have high credit scores, good credit. They're going to have to put down a down payment, and they're going to have a mortgage payment just like any other homeowner. And the last thing that I do want to mention here, because it became more relevant of a discussion at the town board, and although there's rhetoric at the neighborhood meetings about those people, they don't want those people living here. Well, those people, as I already mentioned to you, are the same people who ironically live in this community already. They're part of that fabric. If you're a school teacher, as it says, a truck driver, if you're a nurse, if you work administration, if you're a secretary somewhere, if you're a government employee, if you're a contractor, not a contractor, if you're in construction work, that's who these people are. And they deserve to have the ability to have the right or the ability to purchase a home. And, to me personally, kudos to your county commissioners and the vision of this county. Not only are they looking at trying to address this issue, but they have come up with a plan to take money that government's giving them to find a way to give home ownership to people who we know. As I said, these are our kids, these are our other family members, these are our friends. And how great is it to give this opportunity for someone to live here? And these are people, this is workforce housing. As I said, these are people that are in the community. These are people on Blue Diamond Highway that work up and down in those commercial centers that live and will live in this community and be a part of the community. So the plan that we have before you makes perfect sense, okay? Makes perfect sense because this residential single-family development that's before you is compatible, it's harmonious with the existing residential that's there, and there's a need. And there is a need, and we meet those goals and policies of that need to reach that housing crisis to address that issue. So that being said, I'd ask you to follow staff's recommendations of approval. I'm here to answer additional questions after the opposition is here to speak, and I'd like to reserve a minute or two to address whatever that may need to be addressed that I did not address in this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to open this to public. Now, the same rules that I asked the residents of Moapa to adhere to, I'm going to ask the same thing for this group. Line up. Please be respectful, and please do not reiterate what the person in front of you has said. And with that, don't forget when you come up here to give your name and your address. Okay, let's start.
I'm Mark Leon, 10349 Wolf Cub Court, Las Vegas. I'm the president of the Board of Directors of Mountains Edge Master Association, MEMA, which is the HOA community that surrounds the proposed Cactus Trail project on all sides. It is a long-standing 20-year policy that MEMA stays neutral with regard to zoning changes. Instead, we rely on the professionals that are steeped in the knowledge of urban planning in our area, namely the Enterprise Town Advisory Board, who voted to deny this zoning request, by the way. Nevertheless, when MEMA recognizes that a proposed project such as Cactus Trails will have a profound impact on our homeowners, we do our best to inform them of the process so they can make their opinions known to their county government. Mountains Edge is a community of working families with very little time to pay attention to matters such as Cactus Trails, yet several of our homeowners are here tonight to speak on this matter. MEMA appreciates this panel listening to what they have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Stephen Christmas, 7000 Glencoe Harbor Avenue. I know I've only got a few minutes here to talk, but before my timer starts, can I take the actual community land trust and the words in it that refute many things that you were just told?
That's going to be part of your 3 minutes if you read it.
Okay, fair enough. So here is these are going to be homeowners, yet here we have in the actual community land trust, can we get the camera on that? I've seen a lot of developers be less than forthright with you, and we are feeling the impacts. I have a car wash 4 houses down from me that probably didn't tell you they were going to have speakers announcing everything the car wash is doing to a car. People moved out in 30 days. There are here the terms of the lease, where after you've lived there for 10 months, you may lease it out. The most concerning is that home buyers are right here on page 43 of the 67-page community land trust that I downloaded today from their site, says that the most you can sell your home for is either its market value at this time or whatever you paid for it, whichever is lower. How do you gain equity? How do you move up? That's from their actual land trust, okay? In addition to that, the homeowners are going to be probably better off renting. I hate to say that, but they would be better off taking a rental, because when you do this, on average, people are going to live in a home for 7 years. In order to move in, it's going to cost you, on a $240,000 home, it's going to cost you about $25,000 to move in. And if you can't sell it for more than you bought it for, you might net $340 when you move out, okay? So all you're saving then is your what would have been rent over that period. That's not building equity, it's not growing a community. Just because we've already gone downhill in this area with American Homes for Rent, Wall Street, a literal parasite, pulling what could become savings down payments for future homeowners at a mountain's edge.
You need to address that, please.
Sorry. But this is, the whole area is going downhill, and there is too much. So he's saying that schools are not overcrowded. I don't know what year that data is from. Here's the data I have. Jan Jones Blackhurst at 103% of its capacity. Gunderson Middle School for the 25-26 school year at 116. Tyrone Thompson at 145. Desert Oasis at 128. These homeowners are going to be paying more to move in than first month's, last month's in a security deposit. Doesn't look like, according to the actual verbiage of the land trust, that they're going to have anything left when they move out. They can rent it, but if they sell it for more than fair market value, the county gets to keep that. How is that good? How is that helping people move up? It's just a convoluted rental situation, and we don't need more rentals. We don't need setback standards reduced by 88% like they did with the car wash, going right down a residential avenue. 10 homes. You can't drink coffee outside. You can't sleep.
Thank you.
Good evening, Cameron Shartsburg, buyer 7284 Sterling Rock Avenue in Las Vegas. The developer is really easy to say that the zoning classification is going to stay at RS2, and that is correct. However, the proposed land use is going from a mid-intensity to a compact neighborhood, which is not harmonious with the areas around the mountain's edge and the surrounding home. There are a couple homes, if you go way eastward down Cactus, that are in a compact neighborhood. However, those offer driveways. One thing that was not mentioned is while the parking spaces are increased, these homes do not have driveways. And as many as the hot takes that maybe some people will have that these residents won't be able to afford cars and things like that, they will be able to afford cars. They will need to park them somewhere. And the car's only going to be able to fit one car in it, and there's not going to be any room in a driveway to park. An issue that we already have in a lot of surrounding areas. So that's the one thing. I know zoning a lot of times it's not about opposing a project completely, but at least adhering to the standards when it comes to zoning. So I would ask that if this does get approved, that the density be lowered. The next thing was kind of mentioned with Moapa as well, was just the county's ability to maintain areas around the neighborhood. This is a really high, kind of intensity type of maintenance that's going to be required. Many communities hire professional management companies that have been doing this for years, that have been working with state entities to have rules and establishments such as NRS 116 and able to do this. It's really hard for us sometimes to get streetlights repaired on time, very simple kind of maintenance issues, and so I don't know, this might be too big of a task. As much as I respect the county staff, this is kind of a first, trial to do this, and it's a large neighborhood that's doing that. Another thing the developer representative failed to mention, there was another entrance that was added in as kind of the town board had mentioned. It does seem like it's an afterthought. You see this kind of grand entrance surrounded by park and green area, but then you see this kind of offshoot off to the, I believe that was the southeast part of the parcel. I don't know, again, it just kind of seems like it's a random kind of thing that was opened up and plugged in, and I think a lot of traffic's gonna come through that, and it's not really intended to be an entrance, and it's gonna be a lot of traffic for those homes in those areas. And then very lastly, one thing that wasn't mentioned, we reached out to the fire department because the turning radius in the area was below what is required by code, and the fire department said, yep, we missed that. We put that in the comments. That was never addressed by the developer in his comments as well, which is conveniently lost out. To me, this isn't about income. The team that I have at my job falls into these categories. I would never call them criminals. I would never say that they're more terrible people than me. For me, it's not that. It's just about consistent density and zoning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Harris. My address is 7532 Pepper Box. I live directly across from them, the planning commission and stuff. I have two concerns about the properties. One is the Nevada Trails walkway that they have just, to the south of it. If they propose and put a entrance into that way there, that's where people walk. And that's where people are always walking constantly. We'll have high school, elementary, junior high school kids walking throughout there. The junior high school has a lot of vehicle incidents and the kids getting hit. So that's one of my concerns. My second concern is actually the EMS services going into the facility and the trash going into the facility, and also the cars. So if you have 210 homes, everybody has a car. So that's 210 homes, 210 cars. Majority of everybody has 2 cars in their driveway. So that's 210 cars outside. You cannot make the circumference to go around the facility in a fire truck or EMS services, so you have to back up constantly. So if you have trash days going, you have your trash cans out there, you can't get to your trash cans to dump them. Trash services will not pick up your trash. So the trash will be overflowing, EMS services will be blocking. So my EMS services, I have an open heart surgery, okay? So if I had another heart attack, could be liable, or not liable, I'm sorry. I could be held less time to get to my services because of EMS blocking and helping out somebody else. So my concern is how many homes they actually put into that facility. 210 and 22 square feet, or 22 acres, 210 homes, that's a lot of freaking homes. Look across at my community and do the same amount of land and add it up. It's not even close to what it is. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, thank you so much for this time. My name is Wendy Latner, and I reside in 10412 Katinga Court. And I have been an educator for many years. One of the things that drew me to go to Mountain's Edge was really because of the sweetness of the kids riding bikes. I can see even recently we just have it at the Exploration Peak Park, how we close and we do events for the kids and families. And the amount of traffic that I cannot even make a left turn on Cactus when I go to work. It is so overburdened. Like sometimes really it takes me 4 minutes to make a left turn. So I just think about how much longer it's gonna take for go to work. Then I have the safety, right? The families, we have a lot of cars. When we hold these events, it's very crucial for me, family and kids. It's the safety, it's a very big deal. When my son was attending Palo, there was, because I started busing students from Blue Diamond indicator. It got overcrowded. They had 5 lockdowns in one day. I mean, these kids are not even learning. So, of course, I read, of course, an article that is like the 10 worst, places to live in Las Vegas. I don't want Mountain's Edge to be another one. So please take that in consideration, for the reason of the safety and, of course, for the kiddos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Buddy Craven, 1040 Rawthorne Street. My wife and I live directly across to the west side of this future project. Items 23, 24, 25, and 26, the focus that I wanted to bring up was the waiver of development standards, the reduced driveways, and then also the modified development standards on the PUD, the planned unit development. With those developments, once in dropping these waivers of development standards, we undermine the purpose of our master plan community, which those standards were set, which Nelson spoke about the Title 30 as well. When the developer asks for that, he's essentially asking to bypass those original rules that were designed to ensure consistent quality, safety, and community balance. Those standards are what protect property values, maintain traffic flows, control density, and preserve the community's look and feel. Although he did say that it's going to be the same feel, it is not the same feel. As I can attest to that by living there for the past 8 years, those homes won't look the same as my home and the homes on my street, for sure. Once you start allowing exceptions to like reduced setbacks, smaller lots, or fewer open spaces, you weaken the
Excuse me. Can we put that on vibrate, please? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize to you, too.
No worries, that's important. You weaken the integrity of the master plan community, as I just mentioned, and sets a precedent for uneven development, which creates strain on the infrastructure and can lower confidence among residents and investors, but also, in short, it can erode, in which it will, the long-term vision of the master plan, which is meant to protect. And living in this community, I have seen the erosion already start to happen in the master plan community. By adding more people will just bring more and more of the erosion that we're currently seeing. And you guys just mentioned earlier in the Moapa project that what is it that this project brings for the community? Obviously, if you had a vote, the community would vote no on that if we lined up and had a vote for it, which we didn't. Commissioner Justin Jones, he did not explain any of this to us. I just seen it on Fox with the land agreement from the BLM. I look at that land every morning. I see the birds. I hear my dog barking at the people walking through there, the squirrels running around there. It's a beautiful, beautiful little piece of land, actually, that should stay. And like we mentioned earlier about the desert, it should remain a desert and it should be open spaces, which create a better look and feel to a desert-like environment. Water is scarce, yes, we know that, and so why are we building more homes in areas where we're stacking upon density areas where we cannot maintain? I don't understand why we would even have this in this area when there's other areas in Las Vegas, if you live here as long as I have, that need these communities built. 100% we do need that. Being a behavior analyst and understanding what people need, I understand that the need for it is great.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie Chesto. I live at 7359 Alavesa Court. It's Tuscalante. My main concern is the 5 acres north of the drainage channel, and then their access during emergencies and with the one bridge. I wanted to find out if there was like an emergency exit for them if something does happen to that one bridge. A few summers ago, on August 11th, 23, the main entrance to Tuscalante was closed for hours because there was police activity. There was a police shootout right there. So I was driving. Luckily we have another entrance. My question is, with that with the 64 homes that are on the north side of the drainage canal, what if something does happen to their one way of egress? How do they get out? Besides that, that would be my main concern. If something does happen, it's a bridge, it's one entrance. There's no other way out of that 5 acres. Other than that, all the communities surrounding on all sides do have driveways. They're more than 5 feet apart. They actually have backyards. To me, when I moved in 2008, that was one of my, this is my first home. So owning a home, having a yard, having a place to plant my own trees and do my own thing with. And I believe that like our teachers and our workforce housing, all those people, I kind of feel like they deserve a yard. This land was dirt cheap. I don't know why they're packing the houses so close together without a driveway. Just like everybody else said, I concur with everybody else said about driveways and parking and emergency vehicles and trash trucks. And I just feel like there is a lot of BLM land out there, but I just think this plan is not a good plan. We should give these people, if they're going to be homeowners for the first time, they need their own little space. Thank you for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Colleen. I live at 10410 Badger Ravine Street. I am in one of those compact communities that the developer mentioned. That's right off of Cactus and Rainbow Boulevard. Many times we don't have trash picked up because the trash trucks can't get in. The way people park on our streets, they block. So if an emergency vehicle had to come and get me or any of my neighbors in the cul-de-sac, they would not be able to get in. They would not be able to get a fire truck in there ever. And I'm very concerned with this community that they're not going to have the basic services that are needed because the recommendation is more houses in on the 20 acres than is in my community. I'm also concerned about the ingress that's right along the trail, which is a heavily used trail for children going to school. People on Cactus do not drive the speed limit. The speed limit is 35 miles an hour, and adding another 210 or 400 cars to that problem, I see as a recipe for disaster. So I would like you guys to look at that ingress, egress, right along the trail where kids are coming to school. I don't even think there's guards out there in the mornings, so that's a big concern. And then finally, the drainage canal behind. I think that north portion is not in character, like all the surrounding communities are not that compact. I would encourage you to maybe look at especially that piece because it only has that bridge to get back to that portion of the community. And none of the surrounding community is that compact, so it's not in the character of the neighborhood. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is James Kemp, and I live at 104 Katinga Court, right off of Cactus in Buffalo. And I concur with some of the past speakers that Cactus is right now is so overcrowded, and with traffic, because all the traffic from Blue Diamond then transferred to Cactus because they open up that bridge that goes up to the other community. And what the developer said, most people here are concerned about their property value, with houses starting at $249,000 to $295,000. Now that's ridiculous when people are paying $600,000 and $550,000 for a home, and that's not going to impact their homes. That's ridiculous, you know. And I'd like to say that with all the traffic along, like the gentleman said, traffic is only 35 miles an hour, but people are doing 45, 50 miles an hour along Cactus. And I think it's a bad place to put 210 houses on that 20.1 acres of land with 10 houses per acre. So like you said, it's like 200-something houses. There's 400-something cars gonna be into the area. And plus, with all the kids and everything, with all the traffic and trash pickup, and just all the communities that the community have to deal with. And I think it's a bad idea. So I don't know how he could sit up there, the developer sit up there and make all these grand gestures like he, live there. He don't live there. He live in another community. We know how we know how the community is, because I've been there since 2014 when he first opened Buffalo and Cactus. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Good evening. My name is Kiwan Song, 7481 Mansi Ranch Avenue. That's a Mountain's Edge neighbor. I concur with the previous speakers mostly. I'd like to add some few more points. Somebody mentioned the turning radius of the street for the fire truck. So at the time, last meeting, they mentioned they are planning for 210 houses, but if you increase the radius, they'll have to reduce the number to 150 or something like that. Then that becomes non-profitable for the builders. So they didn't mention that, so I'd like to point that out. And also their the parking number for the whole community, it's including back-to-back street parking of the whole community. So that's a safety issue. Also, in the area, there's not enough police coverage. We rarely see the police cars in the area. And if there's more people coming in, then it's going to be an issue. Also, they said the school district okayed the number of students coming in, but I'd like to see the proof, because last meeting, one of the teacher came out and then she said it's overpopulated already, so it's kind of a conflict. Also, they increased the number of the price. Last time they said 200K to 250K. Now they're saying 240K to 290K. And if you want to find the house within that range, you can just search it in that area. You can find a bunch of houses with that range already. That's another one. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Jina Yun, 7481 Mansi Ranch Avenue. And I want to show my deep concern about the change of character of my community. And I totally concur with my previous speakers. And I worry about mostly traffic safety and so the sudden change of density of community. Yeah, so I totally concur. Yeah, all the speakers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing no one, I will close public comment. I'm going to turn this back over to the applicant so that you can address any questions that they had. And oh, good, I'm glad, because I think there was some questions.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm going to let Margot go and address this community land trust questions that were brought up. So she'll give you some clarifications, and then she'll turn it over to me, and I'll wrap up some of the other things that were discussed.
Okay, and I need your name and address for the record.
Perfect. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Margot Tello, Community Land Trust Manager here in Clark County. My address is 6255 West Arby Avenue. Okay. One of the comments was made about the 10-month and then the opportunity to lease. So just to clarify our documents, we defined owner occupied as someone living 10 out of the 12 months a year. So that's where that 10-month comes from. And then we will be checking and verifying every year. And then the lease part, we do make 2 exceptions that has to be first approved by the county for someone to lease their home. And that's if they're called to active duty as a military or they're going through a divorce, right? So those are the two things in there. So I just wanted to clarify. The other one was about building equity. So to clarify, the purchase price, what it says is that it needs to be sold using the same formula that was used for that person when they purchased them, and then they will be able to build the equity. And then the next person who purchases it can qualify based on that same income. So those are the sort of that. So how that works is that we use a formula to calculate the initial purchase price of that home for that person, and then we use the same formula when they sell it in 5 years, and then they build equity because our formula is using the area median income, and that increases every year. So they'll build equity during that increase plus paying to that mortgage. And so when we use that same formula, that person gets their correct equity, and then the formula ensures that that home stays affordable. So the next person who purchases at an attainable price, and then also is income qualified as that previous person. So, okay.
Before I let Margot go, do you want to ask any questions, or you want me to finish up and then ask the questions?
No, I'm gonna turn it to the board to see if anybody wants to ask.
Let me just, you want to do that then?
Yes,
Okay.
and then we'll go to you. Commissioner Kirk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Margot, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Explain to us again how someone builds equity, the formula, and just how they build it, how the initial homeowner builds equity after, say, 5 years. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, I'm going to try to explain it. It's a little complicated, but our formula, how we define attainable is that we say that someone should not be paying more than 33% of their monthly income towards housing. So we use that area median income to calculate what that is. So that would be whatever that HUD defines as the area median income for that year. So we calculate the price of the home by using that formula for that household. So let's say it's a household of 4 people. HUD tells us what that area median income is. We then...
Wait. So make sure I understand. So you're saying that the price of the home is based on their income?
So it's based on the area median income.
The area median income?
Yes, which is defined by HUD.
Okay, sorry.
And that area median income, which HUD posts about every April, goes up about 3% every year. So if I do the area median income for today, in 5 years, in 2030, that area median income went up. So when we calculate that price of that home using that same formula, using the area median income, that area median income went up, creating equity. And then additionally, they're paying into their mortgage like any other person to their lender, and they're building equity that way as well.
So their equity is going to be capped, what you're telling me, based on...
The resale price is capped, correct.
Based on the HUD's median income. It's going to be capped, so they're not going to be able to... Well, they'll be able to project pretty much.
A little bit,
on
yes.
what their equity is going to be, based on what they pay, and then what the median income, how much that increases. Is that correct?
Correct. So, yes, I mean, it's dependent on HUD, but historically, it's gone up about 3% every year. 3? About 3%, yeah. So they will build equity, not at the same rate as someone does in the market, but also our homes are set at a very attainable price to begin with to allow people to build that equity. So then if they want to enter into the regular market, let's say in 5 or 10 years, they have some money that they wouldn't be able to build while renting. And then when they enter into the regular market, and because we set it at that same formula, then it's now an attainable price for a person who makes about the same income as them, creating an opportunity for someone else to get a home that's attainable for them.
Thank you. Now, are these all first-time home buyers or no?
Yeah, it is a requirement of our program that they have to be first-time.
Everybody who ever buys in here, everybody, in 5 years, 10 years, They have to be a first-time home buyer. Is that what you're saying?
Our program is for first-time home buyers, yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Want to make
Yes.
sure. I want to make sure that's understood.
Yes, that is our program requirement, is that they have to be first-time home buyers, which we define meaning they haven't owned a home or had foreclosure in the last 5 years.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's all I have.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I just touch on that? Say that I have a sister or somebody in California and they decide to move over here. Okay, they owned a home in California, but now they're a teacher and they're over here. They're not eligible for this type of home, is what you're telling me.
They wouldn't be eligible for our program, correct?
They would not be.
No.
Okay, even though their income might be significantly lower here and they couldn't
Correct.
So, okay.
They would still have to qualify to be first-time home buyers, yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure down the road, somebody else might want to come in and they're not eligible for this type of program. This 99-year deed that I read, if they sell, does that tag on to the new owner or?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 99 ground lease, which is a deed restriction, creates those two things. It says that it can only be resold using the same formula, right? So that we set the price, we cap it, and then it can only be resold to someone who qualifies similarly to that initial person. And then when at closings, that person will then sign that ground lease, which is that 99-year restriction, and it'll go on for generations to come.
Okay. I have no more questions for the land trust, but Commissioner Mojica, go ahead.
I'm not sure if you're the right person because you're not a real estate agent or an appraiser, but if you could explain that the reason why the homes are attainable is because they don't own the land, correct?
Correct.
So that's the reason why you can't compare the prices of these homes to their homes, to people in the area. It's a totally different, like an island.
In
correct?
appraisals, you have to compare to comparable homes, and this one has a deed restriction. Our community land trust homes, and so they can only be compared to other community land trusts.
So the concerns of values going down doesn't really apply here because those homes are in an island in and itself.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? I've closed public hearing, I'm sorry. Okay, if you can address some of the concerns that the neighbors had, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, one of the first things I do want to mention for clarification, the county staff has had conversations with the Master Association over, let's say, the last few months and trying to get an agreement together. The HOA, the board, has decided to stop those communications and trying to get an agreement where the county wanted to enter into to make sure we're going to comply, this development, to the standards and guidelines, which we still are, to the Mountain's Edge standards and guidelines. So you have a development that blends with the Mountain's Edge community. So I wanted to make sure I made that for clarification purposes, so I didn't misspeak on that. The other thing that I want to mention is you've heard a lot about traffic circulation and fire. Number one is
Can you put up the site plan?
Yes.
So that as you're talking about it, we can see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what I do want to mention is on the circulation, we were asked by Clark County. We initially had one egress located here. This is a project, as you may know, as you go through this process, you meet with the various departments. You meet with Public Works and Planning. There's other comments coming from the other departments. So through this process, we were asked to add an additional ingress egress. That's what we did in addressing certain comments from Clark County. What I do want to mention is, regardless who said they spoke to the fire department, and it's he said, she said, whatever that is, the bottom line is, fire department is not going to issue any permits unless you comply to the fire code and fire signs off on. So any type of fire issues that have been brought up tonight, prior to building permits being pulled and all the studies being done, if there's something that needs to be addressed on this site plan and tweaked, it will be done prior to pulling a building permit. That's just how that process works. Same thing with the traffic study. We've already worked with Public Works. We're required, if you look in the back of the PUD application, you'll see a list of conditions. Public Works requires us to do a traffic study, a drainage study. So we have to do all those types of studies and make sure you address, circulation will be addressed, the fire issues, if there are any fire issues, will be addressed at that point in time. One of the gentlemen mentioned that the school district numbers, our numbers were just pulled today, or I think yesterday. Some of the schools that he was quoting are outside the zone of where this property is zoned for those schools. So the school information I gave you is accurate as of within the last 24 hours. So I wanted to make clarification on that. The other issue is, and actually one of the neighbors brought up a good point, and I probably should have did a better job, and I'll do a better job at the county commission hearing. I'm going to show you the zoning map here, because what one of the gentlemen has said is that our plan is not compatible with what's going on in Mountain's Edge. So this is the zoning map that I'm showing you. What has happened in Mountain's Edge, there's been non-conforming zone changes. Remember, there used to be non-conforming zone changes. What happened is you keep the land plan the same, but you change zoning on the property. That's how we used to do non-conforming zone changes. The county changed that system a couple years ago, where you come in now with the plan amendment that I'm coming in with the zone change. So the irony here is everything that you see in X, okay, those would qualify today as compact neighborhood developments, because what I'm showing you is RS2, RM18. As you know, as members sitting on this board, anything above 8 units an acre, which is an RS2 development and an RM18 development, is required today to have a land plan for compact neighborhood. So what I will do, going to the county commission hearing, I'll color all of these areas. Although the master plan calls it for mid-intensity or whatever it is, if you look at the master plan, the truth of the matter is this is an area C of compact neighborhood for single-family homes, which now leads into my argument in the compelling justification is what we're asking for actually falls within what's existing. You have actually townhomes that are located in here with some single-family homes. The density here is slightly over 9 units an acre. And the arguments that we've made for years and years is when you're coming in with zoning, you want to be compatible. 10 and 9 units an acre apiece is somewhat compatible, okay, at the end of the day. And that's what we're asking for in here. You have some 18 units an acre, you have some 12 units an acre, and yes, there are some 6, 7, 8 units an acre products, but the totality here makes it compatible and harmonious because of what's existing in this area. So I did want to at least make that point with respect to the entitlement side of the reason why we're coming in with RS2. We're going to meet with whatever else is in here with the RS2 type of developments. And that's about it, because everything else is a community land trust. So I could answer any other questions that I might have missed.
Okay, thank you. I am going to be turning this over to the board to see if there are any questions. Commissioner Gibson.
So thank you for answering what you did. I guess I'll start with the added entrance on the east side, that being right next to that trail. Obviously, there's going to be a traffic study done. I don't see an issue if you just mirrored that and moved that to the west, if that did become a safety factor with the community, and if there are truly a bunch of children walking up and down the trail, I could see that being a possible hazard. I don't know how that plays into your sewer tie-in, if that's actually your point of sewer tie-in, but again, that's not for me to decide anyway. So I guess my point being is I would ask that as you go into that traffic study, there just be some attention to that trail system. The bridge, that does have sidewalks on each side of it, so there's pedestrian access
Yes.
as well? Okay.
Yep.
And they're plenty wide enough so that you got 2 lanes of car
Yeah,
traffic?
2 lanes of cars, yes.
And we
Yes,
don't,
sir.
okay.
Yep.
So the county's gonna maintain the landscaping. You know, there was a comment brought up about maintenance, and I guess, I don't know, maybe this is for staff, but what's the county's plan?
So I'll answer that, and if I'm wrong or off, Margot's gonna come up here and will correct me. But my understanding is, so when you purchase your home, you're gonna enter into a lease agreement with the county on the land. In that lease agreement, you're gonna make some payments into what we would call HOA fees. Those payments or fees will be paid to the county to do the maintenance and upkeep of the community, and the county is a steward of all the open space that I'm showing you on the plan here. So the county will be responsible, the homeowner will be making those payments, and that is in a separate maintenance fund, so that's not going to go into the county's general fund and get lost somewhere. So you're going to have specific eyes on this with a specific account to pay for those type of maintenance things that need to be done for the community.
Okay, I mean, attainable housing is huge. I do like this project. I understand the neighborhood concerns, but I also think you've done a really good job of explaining that this isn't too far out of the norm. You know, being a father of young adult children and seeing the struggle they have trying to afford a place in this valley is very depressing. So I'm glad that we're starting to see something that, and I hate the word affordable housing. This is attainable housing. This is to get young professionals coming out of college the ability to get into a home. So I'm in favor. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Frazier, do you have any comments or questions?
No comments or questions. I can support the application as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kirk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, Bob, we talked about this before, and I really, really, really hate 3-foot driveways. Anything less than a standard driveway, I think just invites, I think it's a bad design. And that really is the only problem I have with it. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it's going to be attainable. I question whether the county or well, let me ask, I guess this would be a question of staff. Is the county department going to maintain this, or is it going to be, sublet to a private company to maintain the HOA standards, make sure people are keeping their properties up to, proper standards?
Good evening, Commissioner Dagny Stapleton, Community Housing Administrator here at the county. And what we've done is we have created a team at the county that will be managing our community land trust. They will be monitoring the community, the homeowners, making sure they're complying with all the standards in the ground lease. In terms of actual maintenance of the common areas, we will contract with a maintenance and landscape company, likely look to the same contractors that MEMA uses.
Okay, so there's a department been created that's going to take care of this development?
Yes,
and manage
we have dedicated staff to this program.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the 3-foot driveway, I just can't get past it. It's a problem for me. So I mean, I've been in them before. I don't like them. 5-foot driveways, I don't like those either, because people park their car in front of their driveway or in front of their garage. They don't park in their garage because all their stuff's in the garage. And so they have to park somewhere, and so they park with their car on their property and the half of their car in the right-of-way. And I think it's a bad design. So if you could, if you had a project where you had full driveways, I would wholeheartedly support it without any reservation. But I don't think the first time around, like in the first year or two, you're going to have a problem. I think you're going to have a problem 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the road when the properties start to age and maybe they're not properly maintained. Then I see problems. So I'm having a hard time with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I can support the plan amendment. I can support the zone change. I don't like RS2. Can't stand it. I think 2,000 square feet is way too small. 1,050 square feet, which is what each of these lot sizes is. When I looked at the plans, the lots were 30 by 35. And I live in an older home, so I've got a bigger lot. But I took my patio, really, and I measured my patio. And these lots are not much bigger than my patio, so that just really makes me think twice. I'm with Commissioner Kirk. I do not like the sidewalks, 3 feet. I think that's just, you get too many problems with cars going by, kids wanting to play out in front. They have no place to play because there's no backyard, there's no side yard. Your 64 units on the north side have got the walk down to the sports park. I think maybe if you could move a couple of houses, maybe move them down and to kind of split up that sports park so that you have some of the amenities on the north side, that might be a little bit better. Your open space, I don't think it's quite as much because that looks like it's all walking paths. And to me, walking paths with landscaping is not open space. You can't play. You can jog, but now you're going to be jogging around cars that are parked on the street because they can't park in the driveways. So I just think that our open space rule here is kind of all goofed up. I can support the plan amendment. I can support the zone change. I can support the waiver. I cannot support your PUD and your tentative map. And so that's the way I'm going to go. And so with that, if there are any other questions? No? Then I will turn this over to Commissioner Mahiga.
Okay. A lot of questions have been answered, but I wanted to confirm some things. Being that the issue seems to be the parking, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that there's going to be a restriction that they have to park their cars in their garage. Am I correct?
Yeah, in the lease that will be signed there is a requirement that you have to park your cars, the number of cars in the garage have to be in the garage, yes.
Is it a 2-car garage?
You have 2-car garages and there's one model that has a 1-car garage.
But that would be the smaller model?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, I know there's some not confusion, you kind of did explain the compact neighborhood, but I just wanted to do the numbers for the people that are here. Compact neighborhood allows 18 homes per acre, which would have been 360 homes allowed, and that's not what you're doing 210.
Correct.
So if we're going to talk numbers, I just want to have it all cleared. You addressed the bridge. Now, you also talked about the fire department, which is really important because life safety is the #1 priority. So fire department would have to approve. In Public Works, this question is probably for you. So is there some type of approval that would have to?
Through the fire department, correct?
Yeah, through the fire department. No, it's not Public Works, but something has to happen for the fire department to sign off on it.
Correct. They
Okay.
will have to do a review.
And the other issue that I don't think was mentioned was the trash pickup. What do we do about that? Have we addressed it?
You're going to have trash pickup just like any other subdivision. You're going to be able to, this is a two-way street. So this isn't where you have stub streets, that's where the Republic Services have issues on stub streets in the past. They've talked to other home builders on that. We will work with Republic Services and make sure they're fine with this plan. You could add that as a condition. That's fine. We don't have an issue with that because we want to make sure through the traffic plan and circulation that it all works well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I would like to add that as a condition to address this so that the neighbors understand that we are concerned about that. So add that as a condition when I vote on it. We talked about the bridge and, okay, I think I'm ready to vote on this.
Commissioner Mahiga, if I could just make one last statement. In regards to the comment from the individuals that spoke about the school district, 3 weeks ago, and this was held, I reached out to Clark County School District demographics, and they sent me a thing that said, for the Reedham Elementary, this particular project would incur 29 elementary school students, which is 5 grades. For the middle school, it would be 17. And for high school, it would be 27. So that would be the grand total. They have this formula, believe it or not. It's not even a whole student per 100 units, okay? But in this case, for the 210, it was 0.137 students for elementary school. So these are the numbers that I got from the school district. If you want, I can send it to you. Not a problem. Thank you for letting me put that on the record. And now,
Okay, so motion to approve the plan amendment, PA 25700036.
we have a motion on the floor.
Commissioner Frazier, yes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And then motion to approve item 24 and 25, ZZ 250571, WS 250573.
We have a motion on the floor.
Commissioner Frazier, yes.
And I apologize, staff, if I didn't add the Republic Services condition. Where do I add that one?
You can add it to the PUD. You haven't done
At the
that motion.
PUD? Okay.
Yeah, we haven't done that motion.
And then motion to approve item number 26, PUD 250572, adding the condition that developers speak with Republic Services in regards to the trash pickup so that we don't have an issue with that. And of course, EMS as well.
Commissioner Frazier, yes.
Motion passes.
And then finally, motion to approve item 27, TM 255000142.
Commissioner Frazier?
Commissioner Frazier, yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you.
Those items will be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for final action on November 5th, 2025 at 9 a.m. unless otherwise announced. We will now move on to, or move back to item number 10.
Okay, if we can,
Because I figure it was moot.
number 10?
Number 10. Yeah.
Okay.